Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Aspire event this evening. Thank you very much for joining us on this rather warm evening. We're really happy to be able to share with you just some details about our approach to helping support our students in meeting their aspirations and looking to aim high in terms of their progression once they've come through college. Forgive me for just a moment. I'm just going to admit some further guests. There we go, just to make sure that we've got everyone in. My name is Tristan Arnison. I'm one of the assistant principals here at the college. And my co-host this evening is our student union president, Eve Hoskin. Could you give us a wave there, Eve? From your...
Hi.
Brilliant. Thank you, Eve. And we're going to hear from a few different people, students, ex-students and staff, in just explaining how our provision works here at Henley and the kind of support that we provide for our students with higher aspirations looking to get into those more selective universities. So I'm just going to show you the structure for this evening. So there's going to be a little bit of introduction from me, just explaining briefly how things work. And Eve's going to talk to us a little bit about things from a student perspective. Then we're going to hear from one of our graduates, Libby Hooper, who's a student at Cambridge, who's going to be reflecting on her experience coming through college and what it means to kind of make an application of that nature. Then we'll be hearing from Tracy and Catherine, who run our personal and professional development program here at Henley, which is a core part of that support. We'll be hearing from Alex Reich, who looks after the extended project qualification at our college, which is something that we very much encourage students looking to raise their profile to do as a qualification. It's something that universities really value. Then we'll be hearing from another ex-student, Aaron, who'll be talking about his experience and his journey. And then Joe Atkinson, our Oxbridge Coordinator, will be explaining the kind of processes and support in place for those Oxbridge applications. And then we'll finish off hearing from our admissions manager, Sandra Tucker. So that's the structure for this evening and the various people that you'll be hearing from. So just to speak a little bit generally about what we do, I wanted to just draw your attention to our college motto, which is question, seek, grow. The idea of aspiration, of looking above the horizon, is very much part of our DNA. It's embedded in the way in which we as a college work. So it's very important to us to help students in achieving their ambitions, in achieving their dreams. And tonight we would have actually had him with us tonight, but tonight one of our ex-students, Amin, is actually graduating from Cambridge, and he would have otherwise joined us for this event. But he's a wonderful example of exactly this kind of thing. Amin came to the college as a refugee from Iran. His English was very limited, and we worked with Amin. Amin worked with us, and he was very determined to do his best. And he went on to gain a place to study theology at Cambridge University. And tonight, here he is graduating from that institution. And we're incredibly proud of those kinds of journeys and those kinds of stories. That's what we're about here at Henley. So our college has quite a long history, goes all the way back to Elizabethan times and to the Bacon family, Sir Francis Bacon and his sister, Dame Elizabeth Perriham. A family legacy basically helped establish our institution back in Elizabethan times. And our motto, question, seek, grow, is rooted in the words and the thinking of Francis Bacon, who's a huge figure in the story of the Enlightenment. So we like to honor that spirit in the way in which we go about things and what we do. Now, the support that we have in place, our approach for students who are looking to, as I say, make those applications to more selective institutions, be it Russell Group, Sutton 30, Oxbridge, there are different ways of classifying things. Our approach, just to explain how it works, has certain key strands to it. So the first thing to say is that it's really important to do that bit more, to raise your head above the parapet, to take on extra, and to show that you're willing, and to show that you want to push yourself. So for students who are looking to do this, it is really important to think about how you might show that bit more. And one really important way in which you can do this is by taking on something like the extended project qualification alongside your A-level studies. So, or of course, another option is to take on a fourth A-level. That is a big responsibility. It's a big piece of work, but we are finding that increasingly universities like Oxford and Cambridge are quite interested in the idea of a fourth qualification. So we would encourage students to do that bit more. We also put our students who've got mainly GCSEs at grade 7 and above. We're also going to be putting those students into dedicated tutor groups next year. So we're going to be running particular personal and professional development tutor groups that will in which we will place students who've got GCSEs at the higher end of the spectrum. Now, alongside that, we obviously offer specialist higher education support, careers events, talks, etc. We do a lot around that front. We have a dedicated careers advisor. We have specialist Russell Group and Oxbridge advice and support in place as well. And then we'd very much, in the spirit of doing more, encourage students with these kinds of aspirations to engage with enrichment opportunities, to engage with things like student leadership. We've got our student union president here on the call today, and really show that capacity to go above and beyond, to put your head above the parapet, as I said before, to really, demonstrate your willingness. And we're also looking to introduce some small scholarships to help support students in building their profile, helping them perhaps do some extra courses or engage in certain activities that will help them in developing themselves further as students at college. So when we talk of Aspire as a program, it's about all these things together as a package, rather than one particular thing in and of itself. But hopefully that just gives you a sense of what that particular support and structure looks like here at Henley. But I'm going to hand over here to Eve, just to give us a sense as a current student Henley student union president, give us some sense of what her experience has been like as a student. Eve.
Hi, so I'm Eve. I was the current student union president last year, and I've just ended my term now. Just finished my A-levels in politics, economics and psychology, and hoping to get good results in August. As a student perspective, it's been really helpful coming to Henley. My school before, it wasn't very aspirational. Like, I was getting like 5s and 6s, and they thought that was okay and average, but I actually had to really push myself to get my good GCSE grades, and I thought I need to go to a place where they want me to do really, really well. So that's why I chose Henley. They've been really helpful with UCAS and especially the Oxbridge support as well. Joanna helped me massively kind of on my journey to choose what I wanted to choose. I went through so many different things. At first I wanted to do PPE at Oxford, and I realised you have to do maths, so I was like, oh no, not for me. And then I wanted to do HSPS at Cambridge, but then looking at my predicteds, I wasn't quite there. So then I actually went for the Cambridge Foundation year in Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences, and I got into that. So I've got an offer for that, and hopefully be studying that in October. But obviously they were really, really helpful. My tutors, when writing my UCAS application, they were extremely helpful. And like even in the holidays, they're replying to me like with updates and with like advice on what to put into my UCAS application. And again, I was also consulting Joanna with that. And yeah, just overall, I think Henley is really a great place to be if you're really aspiring to go to like Russell Group universities or Oxford.
Thank you so much, Eve. I really appreciate you sharing that and explaining something of your journey there. That's brilliant. So we're going to hear now from an ex-student of ours, Libby Hooper, who's studying at Cambridge, to give us a sense of perspective from her point of view, looking back. Libby, could I ask you to share a few words, if I may?
Hi everyone, my name's Libby. I am currently a second year, turning into third year after the summer, HSPS student at Cambridge. That's Human, Social and Political Sciences, and it's essentially the Cambridge version of PPE, but with sociology and social anthropology. And I was at the Henley College from 2020 to 2022. I studied English literature, politics, and history. And I want to start talking about my experience firstly by saying there's often common narratives I heard when I was at the Henley College that the way that the college is structured and the independence that you have is almost the perfect precursor to higher education and to university life. And I would like to verify that is completely true. On the one hand, in terms of literally how the education is structured, you know, having so much independence and taking responsibility for your own workload, your commitments, your priorities, that of course is such an amazing tool to have in transitioning to university, because so many people in having this newfound independence, they don't really know what to do with it. But having gone to Henley, you kind of have the skills of time management and being responsible for your own work ingrained into you. And then, of course, you have such amazing support available to you if you are aiming for those, you know, top-ranking universities. And I cannot speak any more highly of Joanna. She's here with us right now. And honestly, in terms of the practical elements of the SAQ, the written work that you have to submit, all the paperwork and all the forms, I would have found that really, really hard to manage. And it was almost a barrier to me in wanting to go to Oxbridge, because I thought about all these obstacles and I thought they would be really complicated, but Joanna made them so much easier. And even beyond, you know, the more practical elements, the amount of broader support. You know, I was receiving revision tips, I was getting articles and podcasts into my inbox almost every single day, obviously in preparation for these things potentially coming up in an interview, or even if they weren't, you know, directly brought up, it's still impressive to be drawing on current affairs for something like human, social and political sciences. And so really having that support from the Henley College and specifically from Joanna was just absolutely incredible for me. The interview was so daunting and it almost made me want to not apply because I was so scared of it. But the amount of support that you receive, it's incredible. You know, I was offered a mock. I was also sent a document with a bunch of potential interview questions and I wrote out an answer to all of them. And honestly, without those kind of instruments available to you, it would have been so much harder. And I cannot actually thank you guys enough for that. I think also a lot of you guys, if you are looking to apply to Oxbridge, you probably find the interviews one of the most daunting parts of the application process. And so if you do feel the same, I just want to let you guys know that you would not be alone at the Henley College. There is someone with you absolutely every step of the way. And it is also just so important to remember that they do not want, nor do they need you to be the best. There'll be no point in teaching you if you were the best. They don't need you to come as a fully fledged academic. They just want you to be able to be willing to learn, you know, to be receptive, to be critical, to be able to maybe change your standings if you're being challenged. In my first year at university, I had a supervision and it was cut short because my supervisor actually had to go and interview the next cohort of HSPS students. And I asked her if she enjoys interviewing. And obviously she said it's really tiring, but she also said that it's the most exciting time of year for interviewers because they essentially get to handpick and curate and get a feel for the kind of students that they're going to be teaching the following year. And that's so important to remember. You spend a lot of time with your supervisors and, you know, you get in some really sometimes heated discussions with them, and they want to be teaching someone who is, you know, critically engaging with what they have to say. There's no point having a supervision with someone who already knows everything. They don't need you to know everything. You just need to be willing to learn, and we can all do that. Everyone who is in here right now, you are capable, and these opportunities are accessible to you. And I just want to say that if there's any nerves you have or any obstacles you're scared of facing in applying to these more top-ranking universities, I can always guarantee you that Henley has some sort of support or resources available to you to overcome these things. And what is really, really important to remember is that you are pretty much in the best hands possible that you want to do. If you want to go to Oxbridge, if you want to try Russell Group University, no matter what path you go down, you are independent, but support from people like Joanna, and you're really in the best possible position. So that's all I want to say, and good luck everyone, no matter what it is that you do.
Thank you so much, Libby. That was really nice to hear. Thank you for sharing that with us. We really appreciate it. I just wanted to say that if anybody's got any questions that they want to ask, there is a little Q&A button at the top of your screen that you can just click on, and you can post questions in the Q&A forum. And then what we'll do is we'll pause every now and again and answer those questions as we move through our event. So we're going to come back to the staff side of things, and we wanted to just talk to you about our personal and professional development provision at the college, which is our pastoral program. And we're going to be handing over. I'm going to hand over to Tracy and to Catherine, who help look after this program for us at the college. There we go. Let me just bring up the relevant slide there. Catherine and Tracy, all yours.
Hi, thank you very much, Tristan. I have to say, I'm about ready to apply for Oxford or Cambridge based on Libby's inspiring words there.
Okay, shall I go first, Catherine?
By all means.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tracy Page. I'm the manager of the PPD programme, and I just want to tell you a little bit about what we offer. So we're really proud of our PPD programme, which we've built over the last 5 or 6 years. Every student is supported closely by their PPD tutor, who will guide them during their whole time as a student. Usually from year 1 all the way up to year 2, they'll have the same tutor. The aim of the tutor is to ensure that college experience is the best it can be. And I've heard Catherine say this to her tutees before, we're preparing you for when you leave. So we provide a holistic skills-based programme helping prepare students for future education and careers through a compulsory timetable of high quality weekly group sessions. The 4 core skills development themes are communication, creativity, collaboration and care. And Catherine will speak to you a little bit more about the tool that we use called Skills Builder. Examples of topics we cover in the tutorial, we do things such as study skills, interview skills, CV writing, UCAS. We also do a really fun tutorial about assessment centres and a Dragon's Den style task that we do over about 3 weeks, and the students love that. That ends up with a Dragon's Den with some local business people. So that's really good fun. We also have other personal development as well along the way. We have one-to-one developmental reviews with each student, which we try to do, well, we do at least once a term. In these reviews, the tutor will look at the student's progress, help them focus on their future goals and aspirations with tailored assistance to help them meet their targets. So we'll look at how they progress. We also get feedback from teachers, look at their attendance, etc. There's, as Tristan's already said, there are dedicated Aspire tutor groups, which will have the same programme as the other students, but with more targeted skills builder tasks, regular guest speakers, which will either be on Teams or on site. So I think that's everything covered for the PPD. If you've got any questions, as Tristan said, we will pause probably after Catherine's spoken. So I'll now hand you over to Catherine, who's the PPD tutorial coordinator. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much. I think as Libby mentioned, one of the things that our students sometimes face is barriers. They sometimes don't even know that they're there because they simply don't always know what questions to ask. So one of the things that the programme is responsible for is introducing young people to all of the pathways that are open to them, and hopefully we act as facilitators for them, give them the confidence to ask those questions, and as we say, question, seek and grow a little bit more, a little bit further. One of the tools we use, as Tracy says, is Skills Builder, and it's something that we'll be focusing on much more intensely with any Aspire groups, and it is focusing on those skills that employers and universities alike are looking for when our young people move away from sixth form and move out into the big wide world, and our young people are already doing absolutely amazing things, but it doesn't always register with them. You know, something as basic as having a part-time job will give them so many skills, and it's those skills that we really want them to be talking about. So we're trying to help engage learners who want to be challenged, and with the Skills Builder tool they can look at all those skills such as listening and communication. I don't know, Tristan, if we have the skills on the next slide, but we'll delve into creativity and problem solving. Thank you. Staying positive and aiming high, leadership and teamwork. So each of these skills will be assessed when our young people first come to college, and you get a chance to look at where your skill set is very strong, where potentially it might need a little bit more work, and you can work through a very organized framework. It will give you ideas about how you can develop those skills, how you can strengthen them, how you can get out into the community and look for ways to improve yourself and grow. And when we come to write personal statements, practice job interviews, we know that employers, universities are looking for these words and are looking for these skills. And we're really just, as a tutorial program, trying to give students the chance to take ownership of their own personal progression. And most definitely with Aspire, we are going to give you the tools to do that if you're ready to question, seek and grow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Catherine and Tracy. Appreciate you taking us through that. I'm just going to pause for a moment. There are a couple of questions in the Q&A that I just wanted to answer verbally. One question was asking about taking supplementary additional things and whether that's something that you would do at secondary school before coming to college. So I just wanted to say that the extended project qualification is something that you would do at college alongside your conventional A-level program as a form of additionality at college. But there are forms of that type of qualification that you can actually do at GCSE in some schools, but usually it's just something that would be done at A-level level 3 in government speak. And another question is just asking what an SAQ is. Libby mentioned that in her piece, and it's a type of a questionnaire that applicants to Cambridge have to fill in. So there's your normal UCAS application, and if you're applying to Cambridge, they then require additional further information and get you to fill out yet more stuff, basically, that you've got to submit. So I think I'm right in saying that SAQ is something like supplementary admissions questionnaire. I think it might stand for something like that. Libby, am I right on that? Have I explained that correctly? Brilliant. She's given me a thumbs up, so hopefully I've got that right. Okay, thank you so much. So we're going to move through to our next speaker, who is Alex Reich, who looks after the extended project here at the college.
The microphone. Okay, good evening, and it's great to have you all interested in the Aspire program. My name is Alex, and I'm the extended project coordinator. So I'm kind of responsible for running it, and I'm also one of the teachers. Now, the extended project is a really useful thing to make your application at university stand out from the rest of the pack. Yeah, it gives you extra UCAS points, so it boosts your application in that sense, but there are far more benefits involved. But what is an extended project? Well, there are 4 different types of project you can choose. And the word you choose is really important here, because unlike with your other A-level subjects where there is a exam board specified curriculum and you have to follow and study what is on the specification, with the extended project, you decide what you want to do. So you choose whether you want to write the long essay, which is called a dissertation, whether you want to carry out an investigation, science-based project, whether you want to stage a performance, music, drama, dance, ballet, or whether you want to be creative, creating either a real thing or creating a virtual thing like a website, a spreadsheet, which is called an artifact. And once you have decided your project type, you then choose your project topic, which could be anything and everything that you are interested in. Okay, the benefits of doing the extended project, apart from you actually getting an extra qualification and therefore you boosting your application in terms of UCAS points or raising your grade profile, is that you develop skills. And those skills are wanted by the universities, and so they give preference to students who have completed an extended project. So you learn how to plan and organize yourself, how to do research, how to evaluate your own work. So there's a bit of critical analysis. You learn the skill of formal academic writing and critical awareness. But you also gain more knowledge. Yeah, the extended project enables you to go deeper on a particular topic, and it can therefore supplement what you're studying in your A-level. So in history, you might be studying a particular period, maybe it's the Middle Ages, but in your extended project, you could go and study another historic period. You might look at the Age of Enlightenment, for example. So it really prepares you for your future at university, because the extended project in all its 4 forms kind of emulates the type of work you would be doing at university. Okay, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A section, and yeah, we will try and answer them. Thank you, and I hope you'll enjoy the rest of this presentation.
Thank you very much, Alex. We appreciate you telling us about that. We're now going to hear a bit from Aaron. Aaron is another one of our ex-students who's studying at Cambridge Computer Science, I believe. We've got a bit of a Cambridge bias this evening. I just want to make clear that that isn't, you know, historically we aren't always just focused on Cambridge, but it just so happens that the students that we've got joining us today have that link. Aaron, could I invite you to give us your perspective on your college experience?
So I'm Aaron. I've just finished my first year at Cambridge, and so far I've been really enjoying it. The especially just the pure amount of people you can meet. There's, I think, especially with Cambridge, where it's college or collegiate, and Oxford's, you would mingle with people doing many different subjects to you. So I've had many conversations. I've met people who have been making antennas in their garden, or started projects I've not even thought about trying to do. But it's always a fun thing, and you can have really in-depth conversations with everyone doing them. And then even then, you can have in-depth conversations with your director of studies or your tutors, who are all really knowledgeable in whatever subjects they've chosen or what you're talking with. So it's always a fun opportunity, just trying to find and learn as much as you can from everyone around you. But I think especially, I remember when I first went to the offer holder event my college was running, one of the things I was told was you would be going from top of your class to probably about in the middle of everyone around you. And obviously that could be quite a struggling thing for most people. But they said, oh, there's always services around, and I've definitely noticed it with people around me that they may have struggled, but then so is everyone else around. And you can really, I guess, talking to those can help quite a bit. And then you never have to worry about that either, because then the colleges can supply their own help for people who feel like that. Guess another thing, I'd have to say thank you to Joanna for especially for helping with my UCAS application, because I don't think especially my personal statement wouldn't have been as good. And then also the teachers around helping with my entrance exams. And even in the interviews for the things, the main thing you just want to show is passion. If you ever get an offer, they believe that you have the ability to work there. And all you want to see in them is the interviews, or in the interviews, they just want to see you have passion for the work. They don't really care if you get all the answers correct. They just want to see that you can think about it and you can adapt to what they teach.
Thank you so much, Aaron. We really appreciate you sharing that with us. And I liked your phrase there, passion for the work. And it's not about getting things right or wrong, but it's about demonstrating that interest and that curiosity. So thank you so much for giving of your time. I've got a question here in the chat. It's for you, Alex. The question is, what kind of examples of EPQs might you do that might be science related?
Okay, they are a little bit few and far between, but recently, that's in the last 3 years, one student developed a series of exercises to test out the hypothesis that stretching before doing physical exercise will actually beneficial and prevent injury and help actually to perform better. That was one. Another one had to do with batteries, looking at various substances that you can find in a normal household, mainly in the cleaning cupboard, and to create little battery cell, and then to create a measure which one of these batteries made of household stuff has the most power and would be the most efficient. Another one was looking at the effect of acid rain on the children's, and that student actually kind of modeled and said, well, the children's are chalky soil, so he composed a mixture of soil and chalk and clay and whatever it is, and then dropped droplets of acid onto them, and then see how much gets washed away and gets burnt away by the acid. And then he scaled all this up again into real life measurements and said, well, maybe we can actually predict that after so much rainfall over so many years, the Chiltern Hills will be that bit smaller.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Thank you very much, Alex. Thanks for explaining that. So we're going to move across now to Jo. You've already heard of her work several times this evening. Jo Atkinson, our Oxbridge coordinator, who's going to tell us a little bit about the approach on that side of things. Jo, over to you. I think you're just on mute, Jo.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now, Jo. I've unmuted myself. Are you able to hear me now? Yes? Oh, brilliant. Oh, good. Right. Okay. First of all, I would like to say, well, thank you to the students who have participated this evening. It's very good to see, if you like, three different stages. We've got one student who's just coming to the end of her 2 years here and looking forward to going off to university. We have another student who has just finished his first year, and then we have Libby, who has finished her second year at Cambridge and is just about to face what is coming up next at the end of the year to come, which will be finals and degrees and so on and so forth. And if you like, we've also got Tristan referring to another of our students who is actually involved with his graduation as we speak. It isn't only Cambridge that we send students to, let me hasten to add. We have this year probably more students who have actually got offers from Oxford than from Cambridge. So I think by and large we have kind of equal numbers to both establishments. So what I would say is that yeah, I'm in the position here to support and to help students, but really what I need to convey to everybody listening is that it's you individually who is going to determine how well you get on. If you've got, coming back to Aaron's word, passion, if you have the passion to push yourself, to aspire, if you are not afraid by, as Libby was saying, possible barriers that come along, then if you've got that drive, if you've got that ambition, you will find a great deal of support from your teachers and from everybody else at college. So do not be do not feel that it's you are going to be the passive individual here. In fact, it's very much you are the proactive individual, and we are here to support you. So what our programme in the Oxbridge support group, which sounds rather grand, and I tend to just abbreviate it to OSG, what we do in our group, we have at the moment probably about 40 first-year students who are members of the group. Some of them are there just because they want to find out a little bit more about what's involved with applying to a Russell Group university. But most of them, I would say, are there because of what they find useful from our programme in terms of preparing for university. So Alex has been talking about the EPQ, and that is certainly a hugely important part of your curriculum at college if you decide that you would like to add an EPQ, which is equivalent to an AS, by the way. You can actually get, rather strangely if you like, you can actually get an A or an A star at AS in your EPQ. He was talking about people's science projects. Obviously, dissertations or long essays is an approach that many other students, probably with arts and humanities backgrounds, would use. But if you wanted an example of an artifact, I can perhaps tell you about another student who's also coming to the end of his first year, and I'm sorry to say it's also Cambridge, but he's coming to the end of his first year doing architecture at Cambridge, and he did an EPQ where he designed a particular type of house which was ecologically very, very sound. He designed it to be erected somewhere in Tuscany, which suited his whole project. And I think he himself would say that it was the work he did in his artifact, the preparation he did for that, which really solidified in his own mind that he wanted to do architecture at university. And it certainly did give him a great deal to write about in his personal statement and to talk about in the context of other things at his interview as well. So what I would hope students who have got aspirations to apply to Russell Group University, including Oxford and Cambridge, would do is to contact me, email me at the start of their first year, tell me a little bit about themselves. I then have my list of students, not all of whom by any means are going to be applying to Oxford and Cambridge. It could be that they discover that the kind of course in which they're interested just isn't offered at Oxford or Cambridge. There are some courses, I mentioned architecture, which is only offered at Cambridge, and another one which is only offered at Cambridge as well, veterinary medicine. So there are some subjects that, however much you might want to study them, may not be offered at either of the universities. So it's possible that people would decide, no, I will apply to Bristol or to Durham or to UCL or wherever else. But hopefully the experience of participating in the programme of support during their first year will give them a kind of a head start when it comes to thinking about their personal statement in particular. So what happens to start with? People contact me, say, look, I'm interested in this. I make a note of them, try and find out a little bit more about them, what sort of area they might be interested in. And then I will make sure that they all receive, probably on a monthly or 6 weekly basis, probably once every half term, but at certain times of year it can be more, something called the Oxbridge newsletter. And this is a compilation of the most important supercurricular activities which I get sent from the different colleges at Oxford and Cambridge. So actually getting hold of all this material can be a bit overwhelming. So what I try to do is to set out the different activities which our students might be interested in. Could be taster days, subject masterclasses, residentials. This summer we have several students who are going to be doing residentials in both Oxford and Cambridge. It could be something which I think I hope Libby won't mind if I mention this, but it could be actually writing an essay for an essay competition. Even if a student doesn't win, you can be commended, or you can perhaps have, again, something of interest to show in your personal statement when you apply to university, which gives you an idea, or it gives the tutors for admission an idea of, right, this is someone who's really got an interest in the subject. They were interested enough to do a bit of research, and they have put together an essay, and maybe have even been invited to one of the open days at a particular college as part of their reward for that experience. So certainly at the end of the first year, we have this program of newsletters, online meetings, Teams meetings. Then at the end of the first year, which is where perhaps students start to think about, yes, I really do want to go for Oxford or Cambridge. I'm going to put them down as one of my 5 choices on my UCAS form. Before the summer holidays, I'm just coming up to that now with the first year students, we have a meeting to talk about how can you best make use of this summer holiday before you start filling in your UCAS form when you come back in September. Some people might already have made a start on it, in fact. And there are certain things which I can certainly help with there. So with both Oxford and Cambridge, there may be some subjects where you need to do some form of assessment test, or there may be subjects where you need to, and when we're thinking about an assessment test, and Danton, for example, did the TMUA test, if I remember correctly, which is a rather specialised maths test for computer science at Cambridge. Libby didn't have to do a test in advance, but she did have to produce 2 pieces of written work. So all of this needs planning, needs thought. You need to be able to say, right, what are my best pieces of work that really reflect what I can do that I would like to submit. And of course, we need to have members of staff at college who can mark the work for you before it gets sent off. So that's the reference to tests and written work. A bit later on, early November, mid-November in the second year, we go through our online interview preparation meeting, where we talk about the sorts of things that Libby was describing and Anton was describing, Aaron was describing at interview, and the kind of questions, or you can't really plan. It's not knowledge so much that you're expected to show at interview, but rather how do you think, how would you address, with the knowledge that you've got at the moment, a completely new question, a new area of your that you may not have thought about before. So it's being able to, I suppose, think on your feet, to be able to make links. All of these things are skills which relate back to the skills programme that the tutors were talking about earlier. So this is something which certainly I can help with. If we could move on to the next slide, would that be possible, Tristan, please? Thank you. Right, so this kind of sets the programme for the first term. What I would come on to in just a minute, though, I mean, this just gives us a kind of timetable, making contact with students and their parents as well at the start of your college career. Then from probably the November in your first year to November in your second year, we're going to be meeting periodically online to talk about what activities you could be pursuing, and supplementing all of this will be what I've talked about, the Oxbridge newsletters. A word that you were going to hear me say quite a few times if you decide to become involved with the OSG is this word supercurricular, because it's it's rather different from extracurricular. Extracurricular are the kind of activities, sports and music, dance and so on, Duke of Edinburgh, these kinds of things, which are, of course, extremely important. But if you are wanting to try and make yourself as competitive as possible for a competitive university, then going beyond your curriculum in your subjects is really what you need to do. And the super bit means going beyond, going above. So doing some extra reading, doing some extra research, listening to podcasts. Libby will perhaps remember our shared interest in Newscast, which now is, I think, Electioncast on a daily basis. So listening to podcasts, listening to lectures, getting involved with your subject in a more serious, perhaps in a deeper way, but it doesn't have to be tedious. It can be fun as well. So I think what you will find is that they're both Oxford and Cambridge and other universities as well in the Russell Group are very interested in what they call outreach. They want to attract students, the best students from all kinds of different backgrounds. And so they have made, I think, over recent years, much more effort to reach out and to put on activities which they hope are going to stimulate, to encourage, and to make people want to go to or to apply to one of their universities. If we could move on to the next slide. Thank you very much. Now, something which I think is really, really important, and if you are perhaps at the moment, you've just finished year 11, you might even have finished year 10 or be in that kind of area, it's really important when you're looking ahead to make sure that you do choose subjects which are going to give you the best possible opportunity to get an offer from a Russell Group university. So very much 3 academic A-level subjects would be your starting point. If you could add to that the EPQ, which Alex has talked about, and if you could perhaps also think about doing a 4th A-level. So, for example, computer science, which is a very, very popular subject, very competitive subject as well to get into, you really need to be thinking not just maths, but further maths as well. If we could move on to the next slide. Tristan, is that possible, please? Could we move on to the next? Brilliant. Okay, so let's say that you like the look of biological sciences at Oxford, or you're interested in the biology element in natural sciences at Cambridge. You say, right, okay, I'm going to do biology, but it's very important to think about what you're going to put alongside it, because increasingly universities are becoming more and more selective in expecting certain subjects to appear. So maths, for example, is a really, really useful subject to think about whether you're doing arts, humanities or sciences. I think Eve mentioned earlier on about PPE at Oxford, and that is certainly a subject where you're looking at philosophy, politics and economics, but basically you need to be able to offer A-level maths, or certainly that would be a very, very good starting point. So if you wanted to study biological sciences or biology at university, you need to take A-level biology, but then you need to think carefully, well, which of these other subjects am I going to pick up? And you have an idea there of which would really be expected. Again, with Cambridge and the natural sciences at Cambridge, there's the biological sciences and the physical sciences. You need to look very carefully on the Cambridge website to have a look and see, okay, I'm interested in biology. Does that mean I need to also pick up maths, chemistry, physics as well? How about a modern language? I had a student who has, I think, now finished at university, who was very much interested in sciences and who also wanted to keep a modern language going. So alongside 3 sciences, he also did, he continued with French. So thinking about what subjects are going to be best to take along with you is really, you can't be starting that too early. So I would say be very careful, be very selective when you're doing your A-level choices. And whilst there are applied A-levels which can certainly be taken alongside your 3 A-levels, I would say that you need to be very, very careful that you have picked 3 subjects or 4, and the EPQ as well, perhaps, which are really going to present you as an academically aspirational individual. And it's such a shame when students, very good students, say, oh, if only I'd known before I started that I needed subject X to study this particular degree at university, then I would have thought more carefully about my A-level choices. So just to finish off, if we move to the next slide, Tristan, which looks rather stark. This is an excellent web link to Cambridge again, and it's something called Subject Matters, which is meant to be witty. But anyway, Subject Matters basically is this link which tells you what subjects to be thinking about. So as you will see, it's not just thinking about British students here, it's talking about high school subjects as well, because as our students are very aware, many British universities now are considered kind of elite global universities and have been for many years. So you are competing against the best from other countries as well. So that link is a really good one to go for. I think we might have got a little handout which actually sums up the stuff that you need to be thinking about when you are making your choices. For science, you need to be very, very careful that you've chosen the right subjects. For arts and humanities, I don't think you can, as an English teacher myself, I don't think you can do better than, let's say, English literature, maths, modern language, or history. Something like that would be a really, really excellent combination for most art subjects. Look forward, I hope, to working with you in the future, and thank you for listening. Bye for now.
Thank you very much, Jo. We appreciate that. We're going to send out to those who booked the meeting. We're going to send them out a little handout that summarises some of that advice from Subject Matters and from Jo in terms of choosing options for college and kind of making sure that you've got the best possible profile. We'll send that out shortly after the meeting. So we're going to just to close off with, we're just going to hear a little from I think it'll be Rian. So we unfortunately, Sandra's had to just leave the meeting, our admissions manager, but our marketing manager Rian is just going to talk a little bit about admissions, Henley College admissions. That is. Thank you.
I am still here. I haven't been kicked out yet, Tristan, but it's likely.
Oh, brilliant! I wasn't sure. Lovely. You go ahead, Sandra. Yeah.
So I'm in charge of the admissions side here. So Jo's gone on about the subject choices that you make. Again, you're making those right at the beginning when you're doing your application. We in admissions will help you all the way through. At interview, we'll discuss your subject choices. Our interviewers are very experienced on helping you choose which ones you want. And even if you change your mind, we can change those subjects for you. We will discuss the options with you. Once you're enrolled, you can talk to your PPD tutor. Your tutor will be able to advise you as well. You'll have plenty of guidance all the way through. So there's some of you on the call now who may not have applied so far for September admittance. Please do so. We're still taking entries. The next stage after that will be looking at your school report. The big clue for us is if you apply for 4 A-levels or you apply for 3 A-levels and an EPQ, we will be looking to see if you are a high achiever, and we'll be noting that on our records at application time. So we're giving the heads up on who could possibly be on the Aspire programme. Please let us know if you want to be anyway. So those of you who have already applied and now thinking, oh gosh, I want to change my subjects, do please go into that link that Joanne's just mentioned, see what you think would be best for your choice that you want to do. We'll talk you all the way through it. Don't worry, just ring us in admissions. We'll be happy to do that. Now, there's also some of you on the call who may be year 10 students at the moment. Applications for you will be opening in October. Apply early. Let's talk you through the whole process very early on in the process, and we're happy to help here. So if you've got any questions for us in admissions, please give us a ring. We're very happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Appreciate that. And thank you all for joining us this evening for our event talking about how we look to support students in applying for more selective universities at the Henley College. We're going to send out a couple of things to those of you who've booked for the meeting after the event, some bits and pieces of further information. So please do expect those to come through to you and have a look at those resources and materials. And a very, very big thank you to Eve, to Libby, and to Aaron for giving up of their time on this very warm June evening, and you know, and talking through their experiences of college and university with you. We really appreciate you guys giving us that insight, and you know, just putting things so well. It's really fantastic. So thank you so much for contributing to this evening's event. Thank you to everybody. We'll leave you to enjoy your evening. I'm just quickly looking at the Q&A just to see if there's anything in here that needs addressing. Oh, I will just say one thing in answer to a question on the Q&A, if you don't mind. There is somebody asking what UCAS is, but just to say that UCAS is a nationwide application system for universities. So in the UK, there's a national system for organising university applications, and students normally apply at the beginning of their second year at college, in the autumn of their second year of their programme here. So just to answer that one. Anyway, thank you all for your time. Take care. Have a lovely evening, and thank you so much for joining us. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.